Hey everyone, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Jacob Letourneau, high performance sales leader and VP of sales at FlowChat, where he helps founders collect, connect, and close deals through powerful organic outreach. With a passion for sales and psychology and proven conversion strategies, Jacob empowers agency owners, coaches, and consultants to turn their conversions into serious revenue. How are you doing today, Jacob?
Doing good, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
No, I was excited to have you on. I know we've chatted before. I really enjoyed our conversation, and you guys at FlowChat, you're doing some cool things, and there's a lot of people out there that would benefit from knowing you. So, was excited to have you on. But to start off, where are you located? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, so I'm in the north, Canada, in Toronto. So a little bit chilly over here. It's actually kind of negative weather, a little bit snowy here today. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can keep it. I'm done with it for a while, so just don't do anything with it. So, have you been there for a while, or are you newer to the area?
yeah, I've been here for over a decade. Born and raised in Ontario, a little bit north of here. So it's my hometown, and yeah, I've been here for a long time.
Okay, awesome. So if you have friends coming into town that I've never visited before, let's say they're new to Canada in general, where are you going? What are you doing? And what's for dinner?
Funny enough, I've actually had my real estate license for 10 years in this city, so I know quite a bit of it. And there's a really good Italian restaurant called Nervosa, which I always recommend. It's in kind of a nice part of town called Yorkville, and right downtown, amazing Italian food, homemade. So I say go there if you have a chance, and reasonably priced as well, which is always good.
Okay. Well, what are you doing for fun? That sounds like dinner, but what are the plans? What what
Yeah, I
have you?
missed that one. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I did axe throwing. I'm not sure if you've ever done axe throwing.
Not
Uh,
yet. I still got all of them. So
yeah, I got mine too, luckily. But that was a lot of fun. So there's a couple spots in downtown Toronto where you can find that, and I highly recommend it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been interviewing a lot of Canadians lately. Don't know what's up, but I think the stereotypes are wrong. Not once have I heard anybody mention a Tim Hortons or anything like that. So I don't
There you
know.
go.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, that sounds fun. That was minus the axe throwing. I 100% going to lose a finger or a hand or somebody will. Might not be me, but awesome. So what can you tell us about what you're doing?
Yeah, so at FlowChat, like you mentioned, something that we do that's very important is just helping founders in the DMs. So high level, we help founders pretty much say less and sell more. That's our biggest motto. So how can you do that through the DMs? And social media nowadays is everywhere. If you're not on it, you're missing something. So we come in and we help you with those social media platforms using your personal profiles and warm connections and talking to people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, when you've been doing that now, so like how'd you get started doing this?
Yeah, myself, funny enough, a little background. I was what is called an appointment setter. So essentially somebody who uses LinkedIn and cold email to reach out to business owners for a business. You book calls, kind of like what we're on right now, but sales calls. And I was using FlowChat as an appointment setter. So I worked my way up in that business, became the VP of sales of it, and fast forward 3 years later, come into FlowChat, kind of small world situation where I was able to reach out to the founders. So imagine if you used, what's your favorite software, Anthony, right now? I'm
Oh,
curious.
probably Riverside. I've really been
Riverside.
enjoying this.
There you go. So imagine if you reached out to like Riverside and later down the road you wanted to work with them. That's kind of how my journey was with FlowChat. So I reached out directly to the founders, and luckily enough, they needed somebody in the sales position to help them grow. And here we are today. So I'm a user of FlowChat first, and now part of the team, which has just been an amazing journey so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Where like, you know what? I've used the product. It's awesome. I need to do more with it. Right. I really like that when something's added value to you, wanting to reciprocate. At its core. No, I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Is this kind of you started using it? How were you exposed to it? Was you said you were an appointment setter. Were you doing it the hard way and then you found an easier cheat code, or how does that work?
Bingo. I was doing it the old school way back in like COVID eras, 2020, 2021, spreadsheets where I would track everything. And when I actually was able to kind of get promoted, I was running a sales team of about five appointment setters, and this was remote. So during COVID, you couldn't really go into an office. You had to do everything online, which I think is wonderful. And from there, I had to rely on sales reps really putting in numbers in spreadsheets and doing the work. They would lie a lot of the times. They wouldn't put in their numbers, so I'd have no idea what was going on in my business. And that, if you've been in that position, is not a good position to be. So I looked for something, and FlowChat hit the nail on the head and was essentially a full sales process through sell by chat, so through the DMs and with tracking and everything. And I could have my team members use it as well. So it was just an amazing solution back then, and it's gotten even better since I've been using it.
That's awesome. So I can see why you liked it as a consumer, but now you're in the role. What is it that you love about what you're doing now?
Couple of things. The culture at our company is unique. So I'm not sure if you've heard of the word, or actually, it's a Japanese kind of saying where it's Kaizen. So it translates. It sounds like you're familiar with it.
Yeah, no, but please explain it for those that aren't.
Yeah, so very easily it translates to 1% better every day, essentially. So everything that we do, we just try and make it better and better and better. And our biggest focus is our customers, because in any business without your customers, you're really nothing. So that's what makes it fun for me, is I get to help business owners from all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Canada, United States, and all types of different businesses, where we can come in and we take a look at what your problem is in terms of social media DMing. Maybe you're sending the wrong message or you're sending at the wrong time, and we can help you with that. And once that's unlocked, a lot of business owners get a lot of money into their pockets and come back to us with graces, and that's the best feeling on our side.
Yeah, that's amazing. You help a lot of people, but what's the average client look like for you? What is the commonality that if somebody's going through X, Y, or Z, you're the people they should be talking to?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is that they're on social media and they're trying to get more business. So if you're an agency where you're too full up, let's just say, and you're having trouble with fulfillment, then we're probably not your ideal client or ideal software to use, because you don't need help with getting more business. You need help with the business you have. So we're on the forefront. I like to say we're sales enablement. So we come in, and if you need more business and you're using social media, like I said before, if you're not, you should be. But if you are and you're having trouble with it, then we come in and we help you. We have a lot of services done for you, but also you can come in and just use the software if you're very tech savvy.
Okay. And now you're saying social media. Is it all social media platforms? Do you kind of specialize in a couple here or there, or what's that look like?
Yeah, great question, Anthony. So there's so many social media platforms today, and even more coming out. We can't keep up in terms of the ones that come out every day, but we play on the major platforms. So there's about 15 different platforms, but the biggest five would be Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, X, and Instagram. So those are generally the ones that we talk about, but we can play on things like YouTube, Reddit, Discord, WhatsApp, Nextdoor. So there's lots of possibilities when it comes to it.
Okay. And then what about power partners? Who are good industries or professionals that you might synergize well with, find a lot of opportunities collaborating with or referring back and forth with?
Yeah, so a lot of the times we'll work with agencies, and a really cool part is they can white label our software. So they can come in, take our software as their front end sales enablement piece and brand it their own. Or a lot of coaches and big kind of speakers and authors that come in, and we have a referral partnership program. So we pay out 25% lifetime of our client that's brought in by you. And generally, that's on a monthly or annual plan. So we keep thanking you as long as that client sticks with us. And usually those clients, the ones that bring in those people, have about 100,000 plus followers. So a big audience is what we like to say, because it's very easy for them to translate that.
Absolutely. You talk to them every day, all day, every day, entrepreneurs. So what advice would you give to a new or an aspiring entrepreneur?
Get started. I think that's the hardest thing. So I've seen this time and time again. I hop on, I'd say, about 5 sales calls a day, and my team is actively talking to people. So we really see the forefront of the problems, and 90% of it is people don't know, and business owners don't know what to say. So that stops them from actually doing something. And secondly, they don't know who to say it to. So we actually help you by finding your ideal client, figuring out what to say to them, and then having the system in place. So you click a button and it keeps happening day over day over day. and you don't have to keep going back and checking. So that's a really cool part with software. But the biggest problem, and you can do this without software, is just getting started and sending out your first message.
Absolutely. And that's universal. It's just that first step. It doesn't even matter if it's business. It doesn't matter if it's exercise. It doesn't matter if it's a new habit. It doesn't, the getting started, right? Getting the ball rolling is the hard part. And it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, right? So that's fantastic advice. And it doesn't matter how many times you hear it or from how many different people. It needs to be said frequently and commonly, because people need to hear it from different people to realize that it's true. So fantastic advice. How can organic outreach help founders consistently close high ticket deals?
So really cool story. I think a lot of people sleep on organic, and we just had our first live event in Boise, Idaho, a couple of weeks ago, and we had a really big influencer there who his biggest client was Tony Robbins, and what he does is very similar to you, Anthony. Is he runs a podcast, so he was able to get Tony Robbins on his podcast by simply sending a DM. Now he didn't just send one DM, and this was his kind of a golden ticket, which I'll share with everyone here, is he sent multiple follow-ups, but every time he sent a follow-up, he would actually unsend his original message as long as it wasn't read. So this was through Instagram. And you can see if somebody reads your message at the bottom right of the message. So he would look at that, and if Tony didn't read it, he would pull the message away, and then he'd write another custom follow-up message. So it took him about 6 weeks, and he followed up once a week, so about six follow-ups. And on the sixth week, Tony said, "Here's the email for my manager who handles all the podcasts. Send in to me an email. Let's talk." Just like that. And that's been his biggest guest and his highest views through a podcast.
Yeah, that's amazing. And people don't realize that you can do that. You can reach out to people. I always tell people you have access to the internet, right? You can talk to basically anybody in the world. So what's your excuse now? So that's awesome. So how can understanding sales psychology boost your conversion rates?
So with psychology, I'm actually a psychology major. That is my university degree. It's really fun because once you figure out what makes people tick, then you can play along with that, and you don't fight people in the DMs. So I'm sure you've seen this in your inbox, Anthony, where somebody starts the message and they say, "Hey, Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Hey, Anthony." And you probably have a list of 100 of those messages. So by simply using psychology, our first message, we never say, "Hey, first name." We always switch it up. So we'll say something like, "Awesome to connect, first name." And we make sure the first name's at the end. And we say something different. Now, right away, psychologically, you'll stick out in the inbox, and people will go click and see what's going on. So that's a really cool trick. And in that initial, that's an icebreaker message. What we recommend is never pitching in that first message, called pitch slapping. We don't like doing that. And also, what we say is put your foot off the gas. So we're going to leave a nice little message, like a breadcrumb, and we're going to say something like, "Your content looks great," and be genuine. So if they're talking about something specific, mention it, and then say, "I'm really busy today. I'll be back later when I have a second to dive deeper." Now, the key here, and this is a psychological trick as well, but it's great for sales and for anyone listening, just do what you're going to say you're going to do. So if you come back within a day or 2 days and you say, "Hey, I'm back as promised, took a look at your profile. It's really cool that you're doing these other things. Quick question for you." And then you hit them with your question. You've now built trust, and you can start the conversation the best way, off the best foot. So that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic, because you're right. I get, you get inundated by that, and you're like, all right, I'm blind to it at this point. It doesn't stand out whatsoever. You see them, and you're like, next, next, next. Never even gets read. It could be a life changing thing that they have, and I'm never gonna know it. So
Exactly.
it's one of those things that if you really wanted to hide what you had to say, just be like everybody else. So that's awesome. So how can coaches and consultants turn casual conversations into paying clients?
Yeah, a lot of the times a casual conversation will have an opening, and I tell my sales reps, get your spidey senses tingling. So there's kind of certain spots where somebody's going to ask a question. For example, an easy question, if you're in a conversation, they say something like, "What do you do?" Which you do this through your podcast, right, Anthony? And that opens up a conversation for the path to go towards more conversational, just normal conversation, to a business path. So we call that the transition question. When you can pick that up, you can then lay on the next question, which will go geared towards more of a pain. And then once you figure out the pain, you can shoot for the call. So that's kind of our process when we talk about DMs.
Okay. Why you? What sets what you guys are doing apart from everybody else out there doing something similar?
Great question. A couple things. First one, software doesn't matter, and you're probably gonna laugh at me by saying that because we're a software company. But nowadays, there's so much tech out there. So at the end of the day, you can find 10 different softwares that will do the same thing. But what really matters is the messaging. And that's what we really pride ourselves on, is not just the software to send the messaging, but what's actually in the messaging. So we call ourselves a smart messaging company. That's kind of our internal branding because we give coaching and we give proven templates to all of our clients that come in to make sure that you have something that's working right off the bat. So, long story short, is the messaging that's really the key, and software doesn't really matter. It's kind of like golf clubs. There's so many different brands, but if you have the right coach and you know how to swing, then you can hit any club anyway, and it's going to go far. So we're the same kind of method.
I like that. No, that's awesome. And I know with this stuff, there's all the rabbit holes, right? When it comes to psychology of the sale, when it comes to software, when it comes to how you've been able to help people, all of that stuff. But in general, is there anything that I missed or failed to ask that you wanted to add?
I'd like to add a couple things, and you didn't miss it. It's just something that I think viewers should know is where you take privacy very seriously at FlowChat. So there are a lot of things that happen on social media that can affect your account and a lot of privacy issues. So we give everything in terms of data, a privacy blanket is what we call it. So we don't log into your accounts. There's no API connections. It's a little bit of a technical term. Essentially, we don't log into your account. We use a Chrome extension. That's all. And that's which allows safety. So we've worked with over 4,000 founders in the past 4+ years, and we haven't had an account be restricted or banned from using our tech. So it's one thing that we're very proud of and we take very seriously. And yeah, I think that's the only thing that you missed per se.
Yeah. Well, no, it's an important thing to have as well. So that's amazing. Well, for those that have more questions that, maybe want to have more of that organic outreach or just need help in general, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, a couple spots. So LinkedIn is definitely a great spot. You can go to our website, just flowchat.com, and you can also send me an email, jacob@flowchat.com. Ask me any questions. And on our website, you can book a call directly with our team. We'll walk you through a free demo of anything you want to see on the software.
Perfect. Yeah, if anybody'd like to get a hold of Jacob, I'm going to put all that in the show notes, so it's super easy to find. Just click it and go have that conversation. He's the exact same in a one-to-one as he is here, so don't be shy, don't be afraid. They're just there to help your business. If you can have better outreach, if you can connect with more people organically and grow that book of business for you, no matter what industry, you're going to be better off. So absolutely do that. Otherwise, if somebody would like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Jacob. If you were somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply to be a guest on the website. But Jacob, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time going over all this with you, with us. You're doing awesome things. You're helping a lot of people, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So let's all go have an awesome day and grow our circle. All right.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.